You are watching No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and these are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? I'm sick of the elections, and I know you are too. But that doesn't matter because there are things we should care about. This is about the next leader of the free world. And even though we're sick of it, we're also sick of the fraud. We're sick of the double standards, and we must address them. And speaking of double standards, I'm sure you all know, and if you don't know, then you probably haven't been watching any TV news, especially any from the mainstream media, but you probably have heard of Stacey Abrams. Do you remember her? She ran for governor of Georgia, and she lost fair and square. Now, to this day, more than a couple years later, at least more than a year later, and I think it is too, Stacey Abrams still refuses to concede her election in Georgia. Brian Kemp is the governor. She still has not called to congratulate him. She still has refused to say, yes, I lost this. I mean, listen, there were a lot of things that happened in Georgia, a lot of what she claims were irregularities. And in fact, they were not. He won fair and square. She's claiming that ballots didn't come in on time, that came late, weren't counted. She's claiming that ballots should have been counted that weren't. She's claiming that he managed to not get people to vote because they were going to vote for her. All kinds of phony baloney fairy tales that would make the Brothers Grimm blush. And yet, she is a hero of the liberals for it. She's a hero of Oprah. She's a hero of the Obamas. She's a hero of MSNBC and ABC and CBS and The View and all of these media outlets. She's a hero, despite not conceding. Nobody said to her, have some class. This is about the seamless transition of the governorship of Georgia. You should concede. Nobody said that to her. Why? Because she's a black female, and more importantly, because she's a liberal. That's why. And that's driving me crazy. Now, it is a myth that candidates for president always concede immediately and gracefully. And when I say gracefully, I mean by their definitions. I do believe that the president likely will not win this election because we will not get judges to overturn the results. In fact, just today, a lawsuit that I thought had a lot of good examples in it from the Great Lakes Legal Center and from a great attorney by the name of David Kallman was rejected. Why? Because Judge Timothy Kenny from Wayne County, Michigan, said what I told you is the case with most judges. He said there is not a judge that would overturn the election results. This would be judicial activism. We cannot reverse the election results. And I'm telling you, this is the way all judges feel. Even if they don't feel that way, they have to say it, because otherwise they are going to have a mob out for their head. We don't really rule by justice in courts of law. We rule by mob justice. We've seen it on the streets since the George Floyd death. We've seen it since before then, actually. So it is a myth that presidents immediately concede. Richard Nixon, for example, he was sure that he had been cheated in 1960 when he ran against John F. Kennedy. This is from USA Today, by the way. And he realized only that he needed to run again and that he didn't want to come off as a good loser, and his future in politics was probably over if he didn't concede. So eventually he conceded. He's not the only one. Listen to this. Barry Goldwater eventually conceded, even though he was killed in a landslide by Lyndon Johnson. But he did not like Lyndon Johnson. There was bad blood between them, so he did not give a nice concession speech to Lyndon Johnson. Same with George McGovern to Richard Nixon. He did not like Nixon. You did not hear all the media saying, well, but George McGovern. No, they're just saying Donald Trump, Donald Trump. Both were not the most gracious of losers, and this is according to a historian of presidential elections, William Howell, chair of the political science department of the University of Chicago. It's also according to Scott Ferris, the author of Almost President, The Men Who Lost the Race but Changed the Nation. And they give a lot more examples. We don't have time to get into all of them on the show today. But the moral of the story is this. They're saying, oh, all these presidents have done this. Donald Trump is the classless one. He's the outlier. He's the only one that won't do this because he's a child, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. It's not true. It's fraud. It is fraud for them to tell you that, just like there is election fraud. This goes on throughout American history. It's just the way it was. By the way, remember about that duel? Remember the duel with Alexander Hamilton and his rival? Remember that? Aaron Burr? Yeah, I'm telling you, there is a history of this in America. Now, I want you to take a look at the deadlines, and this is why Republicans are fighting about this. So this is a graphic of all the deadlines of when we have to wait for the ballots. Look at Washington State at the bottom. They accept ballots as long as they come in by November 23rd. That is right before Thanksgiving. California, November 20th. Illinois and Utah, November 17th. November 13th, that's today, Friday the 13th. Alaska, D.C., Maryland, and Ohio. This is ridiculous. You're going to wait from a November 3rd election for a ballot to get in on November 23rd, 20 days later? Even the post office is not that bad, is it? I don't know, maybe it is. But look at what all those late states have in common. Almost all of them are run by Democrats. It's ridiculous. This is why the president is complaining. You don't want people waiting that long for ballots. 20 days to commit fraud in Washington State. Now, Washington is a blue state. We know that, and it's already been called, but 20 days, that's a lot of time for fraud. And you know what? We're not talking just about the presidential race. But as I've told you before, the state house races are important. The state senate races, those legislatures, they redistrict. They decide the makeup of the districts. It could decide the balance between Democrats and Republicans in the House of Representatives and in the state legislatures where a lot of important policies are decided and do go on. Now, President Trump had 2 law firms now that have quit. The latest one was last night. It's called Porter Wright. Why? Because the Lincoln Project, which is a bunch of former left-wing Republicans, former rhinos, Republicans in name only, they claim they're conservatives. They've been on 60 Minutes and all over the place saying they're conservatives. They're not conservative. You ask them what their positions are on immigration. They're not for secure borders. You ask them what their positions are on abortion, and you know, conservatives can disagree on that, but if you are family values conservative, you're against abortion. They are mostly pro-choice. You ask them what their position is on even the most basic things like higher taxes. They support that. They are liberal. They pressured these law firms not to represent the president because they don't believe in justice. They don't believe in a fair shake. And they should be put out of business. Now, Geraldo, I want to show you a tweet that he put up today on Twitter. He spoke with the president and he said that he had a heartfelt phone call, that Donald Trump said he's a realist, he will do the right thing, but he wants to see what states do in terms of certification, and he was committed to fighting for every vote. If he loses, he will concede. He'll talk more about all he's accomplished, all right? That is not a classless person. And Geraldo's left-wing, so Geraldo has no incentive to lie about this. All right, when we come back, there's another group of people who are refusing to call the election, and I think it's very significant. We'll tell you who they are. And a famous Democratic congressman thinks these liberals did it all wrong. He's a famous liberal. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Howdy folks, it's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Boston breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spool-rattling pie with a Kong roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Yeah. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Beck Communications is honored to be recently recognized with 3 Broadband Now awards. Beck Communications Cooperative was awarded in the categories of Top Internet Speeds Nationwide, Top 3 Fastest Internet Providers in North Dakota, and North Dakota's #1 fastest fiber provider. It's only through the support of our members and customers that Beck Fiber delivers award-winning speeds and service. Thank you, Beck Communications Cooperative members and customers, for your years of continued support.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Is your business phone system outdated and expensive to maintain? Most large VoIP companies leave you on hold or struggling through online support and training for your employees. With Beck Connect, you always have fast, friendly, local support. Familiar faces with the know-how to keep you connected. Take advantage of the newest technology in voice calling, video conferencing, and virtual meeting rooms. Beck Connect gives you all the features you need with no upfront investment and no obsolete hardware or software ever again. Simplify your communications. Choose local. Choose Beck Connect.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So there is one group of people that are also not calling the election yet. They're not Republicans, they're not conservatives, they're not conservative media outlets, they're not even me or the Beck News Channel, News Network. Nope. They are betting sites. So betting sites, you would think that if this race was really decided as we're being told by the mainstream media, then the betting sites would release the money. But guess what? They're not calling the race yet. So on the one site alone, London-based Betfair, nearly $600 million in presidential wagers, they are not giving them out. They're not saying you lost, and they're not saying you won, here's your money. Another one, it's called Bet Online. The sportsbook manager told the New York Post, we still have not graded a winner. And he's not the only one. There are a number of others. But he says the presidential election was bigger than the Super Bowl, which is normally our biggest event of the year. We kept taking action with fluctuating odds for a few days after the election. Now the bet is no longer available. We are hoping for an official decision. So they say the official decision has not been made yet. And listen to here's why. So this is according to Bloomberg Wealth. Gambling sites have learned their lesson from the past missteps. In 2016, the Irish gambling platform Paddy Power paid out more than $1 million on Hillary Clinton as the winner prior to Election Day. So they are waiting. They are waiting. And if they're going to wait, why shouldn't we wait until all the votes are counted? You saw what I showed up there. Washington State, they're still allowing ballots to come in as late as 10 days from now. today's the 13th, on the 23rd. I think that's very interesting, and I think it says a lot. Now, there is another interesting insight from this election, and another person who also is refusing to go along with the conventional wisdom, and that is Democrat Congressman James Clyburn. And he is a liberal. You probably saw him. He's a very well-known black leader in the House of Representatives. He's the one that turned it around for Joe Biden. When Joe Biden was losing in all the primaries, and he had that one big Super Tuesday, he had to win it, and Congressman Clyburn, he endorsed Biden. And that turned it around for him, because then a lot of black voters listened to Mr. Clyburn, and they did vote for Joe Biden. It turned things around. He would not be president today. In fact, I think that Bernie Sanders or one of these other nut jobs, not Elizabeth Warren, but probably Bernie Sanders, would have been the nominee, and Donald Trump would be president today. So he's the one that turned it around. But listen to what he said. He is the House Majority Whip, and he said that all of this stuff about defund the police and abolish the police, all of these calls of defunding the police, he believes that that is the reason that House Democrats and probably even Senate Democrats did so poorly in the election. I mean, this was supposed to be, remember, a blue wave, and in fact, the House Republicans picked up seats. The House Democrats lost seats. They did not flip many seats. And you know, they are not sitting pretty right now. And the Senate, it rests on those two Georgia seats. So he said calls to defund the police were the reason Democrats lost races for Congress in the election. These headlines can kill a political effort, he said. And he also talked about, as you know, we talked about this before, a Texas congressman said the same thing, that there were these moderate districts the Democrats could have won, but they had these radical messages. And you know what? The squad helped them lose as well. Good. I'm glad. Lose more. Keep embracing radicalism. Lose more, because you are radical. When Joe Biden says, I'm the Democratic Party, no. He's the figurehead of the Democratic Party. The Democrat Party is the squad, and they're radicals, and they're allies like Bernie and Elizabeth Warren. That's who they are. Now, speaking of radicals, so Joe Biden has made some hires for his impending administration that it looks like it's going to be. He hired his chief of staff, Ron Klain, and I want to show you some tweets that Ron Klain sent out. Ron Klain said elections are rigged. Look at this. So that was his well, let's go with his COVID-19, because that's the first one. He said that COVID-19, that the fear is hurting the Chinese. He belittled it. He played it down. And by the way, this is only one of his tweets. He said, if you want to do something, go to Chinatown. You know, that's what Nancy Pelosi said. This is from February 28th. He also played it down. And then here's what he said about elections. So Vox, which is a far-left liberal news site, they said 68% of Americans think elections are rigged. And he responded, that's because they are. So in other words, if Donald Trump says they're rigged, he's just petty, he's just classless, he's just a conspiracy theorist sowing unrest in the country. But if Joe Biden's chosen chief of staff, Ron Klain, and it might be pronounced Klein, so don't send mail if I have it wrong. I think it may be Klein, but it looks like Klain to me. He says it, and it's A-OK that he spreads this unrest and this doubt in our elections. I mean, this is the double standard here. Now, another thing that Joe Biden did was he picked somebody else very interesting. He picked somebody by the name of Sean Skelly to be his... Now, look at Sean Skelly. Does that look like a woman? Well, if it does, guess what? It's not a woman. That used to be a man, and is still by DNA and pretty much everything else, let's be honest. That's a man. Testosterone, yeah, I know you can take chemicals for that, all that, that's a man, all right? So Sean Skelly, a transgender veteran, has been chosen to be part of Joe Biden's Defense Department transition team. She, I guess I'm supposed to say now, she previously worked in the Obama administration in many Defense Department and transportation roles and became the first transgender veteran to be appointed by a president in 2013. So, more of that to come. That was never in a Joe Biden campaign commercial. Gee, I wonder why. Okay, so that's one of his appointees. All right, now, his most major appointee, who is Kamala Harris, that he appointed and chose to be his vice presidential running mate, the possible vice president-elect, they're telling us. All right, you may not know this, but she dated Montel Williams. And we have a picture of them on a red carpet at an event. I think we have that picture. And when he was at the event with Kamala Harris, nobody knew who she was. And we don't have the video of it, but they were asking him, who's your date? Who's your date? And he said, oh, this is Kamala Harris. Nobody knew who she was. Now, I'm not a fan of Montel Williams. By the way, Montel Williams was at one point a fan or a supporter of President Trump because he was on the Celebrity Apprentice. I was once on the Montel show, a couple times actually. Not Who's the Daddy, I promise you that. I was on there to talk politics. They treated me horribly. They locked me in my dressing room because they were afraid I'd be in the hallway talking with some of the other guests, like Lou Dobbs. I mean, God forbid me, one of the little people, should talk to one of the big people. And then when I was on the show, Montel Williams told me that my late father, who had just died of cancer, deserved to die of cancer. While I was grieving, he told me that. Why? Because the topic was Obamacare, and I said that my late father, a medical doctor, was against socialized medicine and against Obamacare, so, and that kind of thing. So what happened? I apparently deserved that, and my dad deserved to die. This is how Montel works, so it figures that he would be dating somebody like Kamala Harris. Now, before we get to the break, I want to tell you one other story. This is very disturbing. So, the Michigan Attorney General, she's a very open lesbian. She represented a couple in the gay marriage lawsuit that ultimately went to the Supreme Court and allowed the legalization of gay marriage. She is now the Michigan Attorney General and has been for almost 2 years. Dana Nessel, she sent a cease and desist letter to a website called Big League Politics. It's a conservative website. It's very good. I read it from time to time. They break a lot of scoops. They have good stories. She sent them a cease and desist letter and threatened to prosecute them for exercising their First Amendment rights that they are entitled to. Why? Because they posted a video alleging election fraud in Michigan. And she said that they had to take it down or she was going to prosecute them. This is not America. This is an outrage. She should be prosecuted for that. You don't send a cease and desist letter that tells somebody to remove all posts, links, and anything similar immediately which correspond with the hashtag Leak Detroit, which is what she did. She said failure to comply will result in criminal prosecution. Really? Look at your Constitution, Attorney General Dana Nessel. Look at Amendment number 1 in the Bill of Rights. All right? Then come see me. All right. And when we come back, we will talk about a CNN anchor comparing President Trump to something just hideous and outrageous. It's so disgusting. We have video. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
I just went in for a regular mammogram and I found out that I had a little tumor.
Through the exam and the biopsy, it was determined that I had cancer.
I got a call from one of my doctors that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
After 5 years, they found a local reoccurrence.
The first thing you hear when you're told you have a cancer, it's a little daunting because you don't know where to go with it.
Since 1999, in a partnership between CHI St. Alexius Health and Sanford Health Bismarck, the Bismarck Cancer Center has provided the most advanced radiation therapies and holistic support services for cancer patients and their loved ones for 20 years.
I've been at the Bismarck Cancer Center since it started. I actually was in the basement of Med Center 1 before, when we had old machines and old equipment. And thankfully, the two hospitals at the time, St. Alexis and Med Center 1, joined forces to create the Bismarck Cancer Center.
I walk in the door, I get nothing but hugs, and I was marveled at them. I mean, I thought it was the best place in the world.
The staff is unbelievably compassionate, and they explain everything to you.
Everybody's genuinely concerned about your well-being, and the level of care is just top-notch. The Cancer Center just does such an amazing job of helping people.
To me and my family, the Cancer Center means life. It's given me the ability to live out my life with my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren.
Because of them, I'm 2 years out. Get to move on with my life, make a difference now for other people.
I would recommend this center because the minute you walk through that door, they've got your back.
This center means so much to me and to the people that are in this building, and we just want to keep giving it back to the community and providing for them what they need.
I'm Katie. I've been cancer-free for 2 years.
I'm Steve, and I've been cancer-free for 4 years.
I've been cancer-free for 10 years.
10 years.
11 years.
15 years.
My name is Lainey, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years.
Bismarck Cancer Center, your partner against cancer for 20 years.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, a lot of statements have been made about the president, and some of the, listen, I agree that sometimes his behavior made it difficult to defend him, but this is just absurd what they are comparing him to. As you probably know, or if you've been watching the show, you will know, my late grandparents were Holocaust survivors. My mom was born in Bergen-Belsen camp after the war, where my grandparents met. Okay, most of both sides of my family were wiped out by the Nazis because they were Jews. And I want to just tell you, Kristallnacht, you may not have heard of it, but it is the unofficial beginning of the Holocaust. It happened in 1939. And so Christiane Amanpour, who's pictured over my shoulder, as you may know, she's an anchor at CNN. She's of Iranian descent. She's very anti-Semitic. She's made many anti-Jewish statements. She's very left-wing. She's also very anti-Israel and just a bigot. So listen to what she did to compare Kristallnacht, the beginning of the Holocaust. That night, Jewish businesses were smashed. Kristallnacht is the night of the crystal of the glass, because the Nazis broke the glass on all these businesses. They shattered the windows. They put up signs, Jews not allowed here. They dragged Jews out of their apartments and shot them on the street, tortured them to death, banged people's skulls on the streets till they bled to death, till they died. This is what she is comparing the president to. Watch this video. It's an outrage.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Christiane Amanpour in London. This week, 82 years ago, Kristallnacht happened. It was the Nazis' warning shot across the bow of our human civilization that led to genocide against a whole identity, and in that tower of burning books, it led to an attack on fact, knowledge, history, and truth. After 4 years of a modern-day assault on those same values by Donald Trump, the Biden-Harris team pledges a return to norm.
Yeah, that is an absurd comparison. It is an outrage. President Trump was the most philo-Semitic. If you don't know what that means, it's the most pro-Jewish, or the most liking of Jews. Philo meaning like, or in support of. He's the most philo-Semitic president in American history, bar none. The things he did for the Jewish people, recognizing anti-Semitism as a crime, as a civil rights crime, the things he did recognizing Israel, its capital, Jerusalem, and allowing Jews to live wherever they want in Israel, whereas the left wing, the Democrats like Joe Biden, say that Jews can't live in certain areas. They support redlining of Jews. President Trump got rid of all that. Now that's all going to come back. So for her to compare President Trump to Nazis who burned down Jewish businesses, they smashed the glass, who rounded up Jews and tortured them to death, or shot them on the street, or sent them to their deaths in Auschwitz, she's comparing that. She has the nerve to do that. She's an absolute liar and a fraud. She's dishonest and she knows it. That is just bunk. That's CNN, all right? And anytime you see anything on CNN, think of it in that vein. Absolute lies. Just vile. Sickening. All right, now, let's get on to something more local. And something not nearly as sickening, but I just think it's a complete waste of taxpayer money. And that is Governor Burgum's lawsuit in the Supreme Court. So he hired some lawyers. You're paying for those, all right, with your tax dollars. He sued in the Supreme Court. He asked the North Dakota Supreme Court to confirm or affirm his alleged, I don't believe it's true, but his alleged right to appoint the successor to Dave Ondal, who was elected. Now, as you probably know, in North Dakota, when they vote for seats in the legislature, the two highest vote getters get to go forward. And Dave Ondal was the second highest vote getter, despite the fact that he died before Election Day. Some people already voted for him in their mail-in ballots ahead of time when he was still alive. Other people may have voted for him because they knew he was a Republican. And the ultimate winner on top was also a Republican, David Nearing, but Dave Ondal was number 2, and so the top 2 get in. So the governor said, and he got 35% of the vote, the governor said it's my right to appoint a replacement. Attorney General Wayne Stenhjem said, no, it isn't. Look at your North Dakota Constitution and look at North Dakota's laws, its legislation. According to both of those, you do not have that right. First of all, the election has not yet been certified. Secondly, the legislative term ends on November 30th, so a new person can't even be appointed till December 1st when the new term starts. And the legislature is basically backing him. The legislature says they get to appoint the successor, and Wayne Stenhjem says the same thing. So the governor is suing the leaders of the Democrat and Republican Party, and he's suing other parties, not political parties, but other persons, so that the Supreme Court will declare that he has that right. And I don't think he's going to win. They will not declare that. I don't think the Constitution backs him at all. But we will see. It shouldn't have gotten this far, and the fact is, again, you are paying for his lawyers. You. So enjoy that waste of tax money at a time when the money could be better spent elsewhere, like helping people get jobs who lost their jobs, helping people keep their businesses afloat. How about something like that? I know it's a drop in the bucket, but don't waste tax money on something like that. You are a billionaire, paid out of your own pocket. My God. And he spent $1.8 million of his own money in this race to muck it up to get this result. Jeff Delzer would have been in there right now, and we wouldn't have this situation. But we will be following as the campaign turns. It's like a soap opera. Campaign, it's over, but it's really not over. All right. One other thing. North Dakota pro-pot people. As we know, the pro-pot people tried to get on the ballot the legalization of pot in North Dakota. They didn't get enough signatures, so they said they would try and come back in 2 years. Well, they see that South Dakota, our neighbors to the south, and Montana, our neighbors to the west, have approved pot legalization measures. Unfortunately, I think that's the way America's headed. We're headed to becoming like Europe. Why do we want to be like Europe? We broke away from them in 1776. But I guess some people just can't get away from it. So now they think, the pot organizers in North Dakota, that they have a second chance, and that this time around they will not only get it on the ballot, but they'll get it passed. And I told you last week that one of the things that was passed in many other states is this legalization of really dangerous drugs, mushrooms, psychedelics. In Oregon, they're legalizing meth, crystal meth, and oxy, and crack cocaine, and other things like that. This is heroin. This is going to destroy America. Terrible. All right, when we come back, it's Friday the 13th, No Filter movie reviews. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Bismarck Central, 4800.
4800, go ahead.
Requesting social services on-call team.
Stand by. 4800 social services requesting additional information.
You can advise social services that we have an 18-month-old female who was in a residence with a mother, now being transported to medical care for overdose.
Trusting your digital life to faceless tech giants can be risky. Will they keep your family and business information truly safe from prying eyes? If you subscribe to local Beck Lightband Internet service, you already have Beck Cloud Backup. Beck Cloud Backup is the safest, most private cloud storage for all your family memories, schoolwork, and business documents. Call 701-475-2361 to start using your free space on Beck Cloud Backup today.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Howdy folks, it's a Canline Cafe. I reckon it's time you'll do for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Canline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So today is Friday the 13th. Ooh, spooky. So that means that there are probably scary movies at the theater, you would think. And you'd be right, except not that scary. So there are two new movies at the theaters that opened today. As you may know, I'm a movie critic. I have my critiques of movies on several different media platforms. I've been doing this for a decade and a half, almost 2 decades now. And I have a system of ratings. Reagan's are really good. Marx's are bad. So The two new movies this weekend will start with the allegedly scary movie, and that is Freaky. All right, so Freaky is supposed to be a combination of Freaky Friday. You may remember that movie from the 80s starring Jamie Lee Curtis, and the other movie, Friday the 13th, because after all, today is Friday the 13th. I did not find this movie all that great. It's an interesting idea, but first of all, it was just gross. It was gory. I expected that. I'm fine with gory if there's like a reason for it. I just didn't think this movie was that great. The story is that Vince Vaughn plays this serial killer in his town, and he's called the Butcher. And then there's this girl, you see her there in the film, and she is kind of like a nerd. She doesn't look too nerdy to me, but they try and pretend she is, and she's the outcast. And the Butcher comes and tries to kill her with this ancient knife that's cursed, and she fights him off, and what happens is their bodies switch. So she takes the body of the Butcher, and everybody thinks the Butcher is the Butcher, but it's her. And the Butcher takes her body and becomes this really hot girl that's really a serial killer. And she only has till midnight to switch the bodies back, or she will be forever stuck in the body of the Butcher. Now, there was just like a lot of gross humor that, listen, I'm not a prude, but if you're going to tell dirty jokes, be funny. It just wasn't funny. Everything landed with a thud. It was gross. It was stupid. And I just didn't think it was all that great. Like I said, great idea. Execution, not so great. And there's a reason it's out during the COVID lockdowns in some states, because Hollywood's getting rid of the bad movies and purging them. And this is one of them. So on my rating scale, I gave it 1 marks. Now, there's another movie this weekend called The Climb. And I hated this movie. First of all, it's long, slow, and boring. Secondly, it's just gross and stupid and pointless. And I sat through this and I thought, oh my goodness, over an hour and a half of my life I'll never get back, all right? So don't believe that quote from IndieWire. It's terrible. So the story is there's these two guys. One of them is raised by the other guy's mother because she takes him in to be nice. And of course, no good deed goes unpunished. And the other guy basically steals the good guy's fiancés and girlfriends and has sex with them and ruins all his relationships. The end. That's the whole movie. What is the point? So it's a bromance gone wrong. No, thank you. So I gave that movie on my rating scale 4 markses. 4 markses meaning it's the worst, and do not see this. Skip it. Don't waste your money. I would never waste my money on something like this. It's like a bad investment. I'm just saying. Okay. So that was the movies, but we have more. It's the weekend, and guess what? On the weekend, you want to watch something fun that doesn't have to do with politics, maybe has to do with food? Guess what? If that's the case, then the Food Network has something for you. So this weekend, tonight actually, at 8 p.m. North Dakota time, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives on the Food Network has come to the Fargo-Moorhead area, and they've picked some restaurants. One of them that they're going to be featuring as part of the Flavortown, Guy Fieri's Flavortown, is the restaurant called Pounds. All right, then other restaurants they stopped at in Fargo include the Blackbird Woodfire, Nicole's Fine Pastry and Cafe, Passage to India. On the Moorhead side, the film showed Saul Avenue, Kitchen and Rustica Eatery, and Tavern. All right, so those were the restaurants. All right, now I want to show you this video because I think it's just hilarious. This is a woman. Her name is Lita Powell Drake. She was an interviewer for public television for many years in the 70s, 80s, and maybe 90s in Minnesota and Nebraska. And somebody took some clips. This woman has got a lot of chutzpah. Chutzpah is a Yiddish Jewish word for nerve, usually not in a good way. And this is one of those cases. Watch this.
Let's let her rip this morning. You got to work with Richard Burton in The Tempest.
Yes, I did.
And now he's dead.
Oh, yes.
Do you know who his dad is? His dad, you watch Bonanza, I'm sure you watch the reruns of Bonanza, was the sheriff on Bonanza, Bing Russell. Is he still alive, Kurt?
You've done some brilliant pictures, you've done some stinkers.
Really?
What happened to Heaven's Gate, Sam? What happened to Bosom Buddies?
We were canceled.
Did you see the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark? Have you seen it yet?
Yes, I did. It's a
You know-
wonderful movie.
Do you know that he turned down the role of
No, I
Indiana?
didn't.
I heard that you turned down the role, that you were offered the role.
I wouldn't turn it down.
Do you have any regrets about not going into the series for MASH?
No.
No? They've all made a fortune, Elliot. Then that little movie you did with him, Wild River, what was one of his few flops? He looks evil in many ways. Can the camera come in and take a close-up? Look at these eyes. Have you ever seen eyes like this? If you look at them real closely, what do you see? Look. Do you see that ring around the outer edge of the eye? What is that?
I don't know. It's an old family trait. My father had those. It's a ring around my moon.
Well, it makes a most fascinating look. You really look terrific.
Thank you.
Are you into yoga or exercising?
No,
or
I
eating
exercise.
right? You might just whip one out.
I might just whip one out, and there I am.
Listen, you don't know to whom you are speaking because you and I go back a few years. But you weren't a model.
No.
What size are you?
Um,
Tom, how do you kiss underwater without bubbles coming out of your nose and mouth? Let me ask you, how would you feel as a mother if your daughter were involved with your former love? Personally, how would you react to something like that? You know how invaluable your voice has been to you over the years?
no, baby, tell me.
Perfect.
Oh,
I mean,
We way
can we
ahead
do
now,
that?
Duluth.
You're a new father. Can
Yeah.
we do that?
Of course we can.
We can?
It was
Let's
based
try it
on
again, because that
affection.
was on the left side. It works,
Yeah.
it works, it works. You don't consider yourself a great actor, do you?
I'm sorry, I could watch that over and over again. That woman's got a lot of nerve, but hilarious. All right, so Jada Pinkett Smith, she has this podcast. I don't know why anybody watches this, but she is saying that she was suicidal twice in her life, and why? Because she had repressed rage. Are you serious? This woman is a multi-millionaire. She's married to a multi-millionaire movie star. She is a movie star, and she's crying, well, I have repressed rage. I feel suicidal. Oh, please, get over yourself and have some pity and some empathy with the millions of Americans who have real reason to be suicidal and have real reason to have rage because they've lost their jobs. Their businesses have been destroyed. Just shut up, Jada. All right, when we come back, we will talk about why you should be thankful that President Trump is still the president during Christmas time. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My name is Rich Shook, and I lost my best friend in a grain bin accident.
Some of the emotional scars that when these incidences happen just resonates throughout the community like dropping a rock in a pond. I guess I'll never forget. At least the last moments we shared. That's why I think this is so important to get out there to people, is people think that it can't happen to you, and it can. The time it would take you to just kiss a loved one, and your life is over. I believe it's unacceptable.
This message provided by North Dakota Farmers Union.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. Now, if you've ever drank any of the following drinks, Tab Cola, Zico, and any of the other 200 drinks that Coca-Cola has that you maybe aren't seeing lately at your convenience store, your gas station, your market, there's a reason. Coca-Cola is getting rid of 200 drinks that aren't being bought as much because of the pandemic. This is another thing locking people down. They're getting rid of your favorite drink. Now, I don't know anybody that drinks Tab Cola. That's like from the 70s. I don't think I've seen a commercial for that since the 70s, early 80s. But Coca-Cola is getting rid of that. Zico, Adwala. So a lot of drinks you might like, they're getting rid of it. Now, it is almost Christmas. We know Thanksgiving's coming up. That used to mark Black Friday, the unofficial start of the Christmas shopping season. Now, Black Friday sales have already begun, partially because of the pandemic. They don't want people in stores. They don't want crowds and so on. But here's something I want to tell you. You should be damn proud and consider yourself very lucky that President Trump is still the president right now. Why? Because as we said on the show yesterday, Joe Biden's coronavirus advisor wants to lock America down for 4 to 6 weeks. And Joe Biden has said so. He's said on his campaign commercials, he said in the debates, he wants to lock America down. And that is coming, I'm telling you. That is going to come. And we should be happy that he's not president right now. Listen, businesses right now are very, very lucky that President Trump is the president because, listen, when this virus first started to hit America in waves in March, in a very serious way, it wasn't really a big shopping season. But we know the biggest shopping season that makes or breaks many, many businesses in America is the Christmas shopping season. And Joe Biden would end that. He would shut that down. President Trump will never let them shut Christmas down. He's not going to allow it. Not on his watch. This is something he has spoken out against, about the de-Christmasization of Christmas, about the de-Christianization of Christmas. And I want you to know, I'm not a Christian. I'm Jewish, as I have mentioned to you on this show many times. But I celebrate that we have a strong Christian backbone to America. This is a Christian country. That's why it's still around. It's why we have such great values that our Constitution and our laws are based on. It's why I, as a Jew, am able to practice here, unlike in Muslim countries where good luck to people like me. We get thrown off of buildings, beheaded, and so on. All right, so I celebrate that. And listen, this is a big part of our economy. That's why it was called Black Friday, because most businesses were in the red until Black Friday, when they became in the black because of shopping. So this would all be shut down. All the malls would be shut down. Everything would be destroyed. And a lot of these businesses that are still trying to hang on, they'd be put out of their misery forever by Joe Biden. So you should be happy. Thank God the President Trump is going to be the president beyond and for the Christmas season. Thank God for that. And speaking of all of that, Justice Alito made a speech the other day, I think it was yesterday, on a conference call with conservative attorneys, the Federalist Society, and he said beware of this pandemic and beware of the people who are taking power, because they are taking away liberties, he said, in a way that we have never seen it. And he talked about the shutting down of churches. He talked about how they've been trying for years, and they may succeed, to force Christians, for example, the bakers in Colorado, who did not want to bake that cake, that the man who was a cake artist, and they tried to force him to bake a cake. He talked about that for gay marriage. And listen, if I owned a bakery, I probably would bake that cake, but it's not against my religion to do that. I respect people whose religious beliefs are different than mine, and we have to do that. We're not doing that in this country, except for Muslims. Not for Christians, not for Jews, not for the Judeo-Christian ethic. We see Jews being arrested or given tickets in New York because they're trying to go to their synagogues, or because they did not follow the edicts of this communist Marxist mayor, Bill de Blasio, and his counterpart, the governor, Cuomo. We are under attack, and we got to remember that this holiday season, because it might not be good the next holiday season. Thank God Joe Biden is not controlling things. And speaking of that, the governor of Mississippi. So the governor of Mississippi said, if there is a national lockdown like what Joe Biden is talking about, he said he is not going to do it. He's not going to cooperate with it. He said that he is responding to those comments made by Biden's advisor, Dr. Michael Osterholm. We talked about him the other day. He said it's totally and completely beyond reasonableness. He said the people of Mississippi can't just go home and shut down their small businesses for 6 weeks and just think that you can come back 6 weeks from now, flip a switch, and everything's going to be fine. He's exactly right. And he said he doesn't think any president has any statutory or constitutional authority to do that. And he's right. And remember, when President Trump wanted all these states to open up the economy, all these liberal governors said he didn't have authority. Well, guess what? Now he has the authority. You know, he has the authority, apparently, according to these liberals. We can't shut our economy down. And I hope Governor Burgum stays on that the same as well and does not shut down our economy. He's been very tough on this. And remember, things are not always as they seem. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you Monday.